Good time zone, good mammals.
Hello, friends.
Hello and welcome.
How's everyone feeling today?
Did anyone sleep better than me? You all did. Almost all of you, except for one or two of you. We had a weird night, Amelia and I. We both are feeling real crunchy, team.
Real grog. I got my cuddle Pikachu here with me.
Yeah, that'll be good.
My self-soothing Pikachu.
Yeah, I don't know. You did sleep well. Okay, good.
Oh,
as long as a few of us slept well, that makes me happy to hear.
Hey, Oz, 1994. Thanks for the gifts of
Yo,
group hug.
Oz, thank you kindly.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you got one of those gifted subs from Oz 1994, please be sure to thank him. Hey. Pikachu says thank you. You did not sleep at all?
Not at all?
Dang, that's intense.
Oh, yeah, that is intense.
Aaron Gray, welcome back for 18 months. That's almost a whole year.
Whoa, welcome back, Aaron. Good to see you.
Today we're talking about self-sabotage. And I think getting a good night's sleep is something I've brought up on almost every Good Mammal stream. And if I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm definitely sabotaging myself.
Definitely.
So I feel a little like I'm living by example. I want to just self-sabotage myself so you all could learn from me. And just look at him. See how he's kind of dead in the eyes and obviously he's got a headache?
Aww.
What's wrong with him? Why?
Aww.
I don't know. Susie the Nose.
Susie, thank you so much for the 7 gifted
subs. Thank you for the 7 gifted subs. You are a diamond in the sky. Thank you. Grab a diamond. Those are all real diamonds. And thank you so much to Calcium Avenue for being here for 3 months. Disco Dreamy.
Hey.
Welcome back, Disco Dreamy, for 27. Almost the magic number around here. TB Wonders. What's up for 2 months? Hello. Welcome back.
And the Invisible Girl is back for 22 months. And I Am Deviant RK800 is back for 20.
Thank you, friends. Thank you all. We did a goal-setting stream, and it taught me something about sharing my goals. And so our goal for today's stream is to cross over 100 subs if we can. It's !September right now, which means all of the subscriptions on Twitch are 25 to 30% off, depending. So if you'd like to check it out, please feel free. !September in the chat. Let's talk about... Let's talk about self-sabotage. Wow. Yeah, and this one surprised me because it won last time with the poll, but like by a lot.
Yeah.
And I was sort of like, why? I don't want to talk about self-sabotage. And then I get it now. I'm like, wow, it's connected to everything.
So I'm curious. When you think of self-sabotage, what comes to mind? What is it for you to be self-sabotaging?
And also, sabotage is a weird word.
I know.
Spell.
Overthinking.
There we go.
Tripping yourself up to a goal. Putting a rock in front of you. Isolating yourself. Rejecting things. Starving. Distancing yourself. Standing in your own way. Stumbling. Sabotaging your friendships or relationships once you're happy.
Oof.
Not putting in effort. Setting unreasonable goals. Procrastination.
That's me. I'll take unreasonable goals for 300, please.
I'll take procrastination for 200. Not taking care of yourself. Doing things for others and not yourself. Overthinking. Doubting yourself. Hurting yourself, avoiding commitments, telling yourself all the bad things about you to make you feel even worse about yourself.
There's a lot of flavors of self-sabotage. Who thought perfectionism, says Alex. Yes, I see that too. Okay, so this is like getting in our own way.
Yeah.
For real.
In like a real way.
Oof.
And there's also so many different, I think all of these are accurate descriptions of self-sabotage.
Yeah. No wonder it's so hard to deal with self-sabotage if it shows up in all these different forms, right? Like maybe I get a handle on not setting a huge unrealistic goal, and then instead I find myself procrastinating.
Yeah.
Like it's a little this way or a little that way. So I'm finding again this seems to be a balancing act. Well, trying to find the middle point, huh?
There's also conscious self-sabotage, so you're aware of what you're doing. But then there's also unconscious sabotage, where you are not aware of what you're doing.
All right, so everybody just typed in the chat and a conscious self-sabotage. It sounds like a lot of those were like things that we're aware of, because if we're aware of them, we could type them into the chat. So then there's things that we're doing to sabotage ourselves that we're not even aware of. I don't know about order of operations for this, but I feel like we have to tackle the ones we're aware of first before we stand any kind of chance against the ones we're not aware of.
Well,
right?
also, I think that being aware of your self-sabotaging habits is the first step towards stopping it. Because if you're in a place where you're not even aware that you're self-sabotaging, then you got a lot further to go. So good on us. We know how we self-sabotage sometimes. So that's the first step.
Yeah, and if you don't know one, maybe it just went past in the chat, you know?
Yeah.
Robotic Orchids gives a gift sub to procrastination, which is an interesting tactic.
Thank
Robotic
you.
Orchids. And Squiggly Boy, welcome back for 32 months. I love these streams so much. Thank you for bringing all of these discussions with us. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it too. For those of you who might be joining for the first time, do we have any new Good Mammal discussion, folks?
Do we have any new good mammals?
Yeah, we're all mammals. The idea here is that if we can't get humans to be kind to each other on the basis that we are just fellow humans, maybe we can be a little more reductive and say, well, you're at least fellow mammals. So regardless of your pronouns, you are also a mammal. So let's talk about how it is to mammal. How do we exist like this?
Well, T-Flash is here for the first time as
Hello.
a good mammal, and Guardian Angel's also good mammaling for the first time.
Wonderful. Maisie the Little Bean, hello.
And Daout ATTV is also here for the first Good Mammal stream.
Welcome, and I see Wasteland. Hello. Thank you for joining us.
Lila is also here. And Old.
Fantastic. I'm glad to see you. We're going to be linking our past Good Mammal streams to our Twitch with commands. But if you'd like to check them out in the meantime, all of our past streams are available as a VOD for 60 days on Twitch, and then it goes up on YouTube, usually before 60 days. And a bunch of our past streams are there. So if you're curious, our first one was about emotions and understanding emotions. We got into this big, beautiful color wheel.
Yes.
So why don't we all check in? This is the one I like the most, I think, of all the color wheel of emotions. Tag yourself, team. Where are you right now? Are you on the comfortable emotions or uncomfortable side? I'm feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm feeling, am I angry? No.
Not really
scared? No. I guess I'm disappointed a little. I'm feeling a little disappointed.
Disappointed.
This is not my world. Disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I felt like when I went to bed last night, I was like really geared up for this stream, and I was like thinking of this big full day I was gonna have, and I woke up feeling like absolute garbage. I had like weird nightmares, and my pillow was horrible for me, and I don't know, it was a bad night's sleep. And so now I'm feeling like I'm starting my day kind of like, like at a disadvantage, like Anakin right before his legs get chopped off.
Wow.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is an example of us checking in with ourselves and acknowledging where we're at. And this was Understanding Emotions was the first of the Good Mammal streams, which you can check out up on our YouTube. But I think that most of these discussions that we've been having, this is like 11, 12, Scree will correct me because he knows exactly, but we're finding that almost all of this stuff, and it's not what I expected from the beginning, is really just like knowing yourself.
Yeah.
It's really just like reading the temperature of your own heart and mind. Sort of.
And also because we've talked about many different topics. We've talked about emotions, we've talked about loneliness, we've talked about burnout, we talked about overthinking, we talked about setting healthy boundaries.
Do you think you can do all 14? Scree says there were 14 of them.
We talked about what is therapy and goal setting. We talked also about being anxious. We talked about positive affirmations. And a lot of it, almost all of it, like consistently comes back to how do we treat ourselves? What is our relationship with ourselves? How do we talk to ourselves? Because self-love and self-care is really the foundation of being a happy mammal, being a good mammal.
Yeah, the example that I used in the very first
Oh, the creative process. Yeah.
creative process, we did one, what is therapy, with exclamation point Dr. Mick.
So good.
Oh man, just lost train of thought because my brain's not fully on. Come on, Bri.
We were gonna say we were talking about treating yourself with care, taking care of yourself. I'm
not entirely sure, but generally speaking, it sounds like we all know that we're not kind to ourselves all the time. It sounds like even if I have this expectation that my life is getting better all the time, it's not. Sometimes it gets better and then it's worse, and then it's better and then it's worse. And so what I'm observing is that there is an unrealistic expectation that life isn't going to do this. I think every day in the day itself, it goes like this. But then over like the week and the month and the year, it goes like this. And sometimes it hangs out in the low bits, and sometimes you get some good news back to back to back to back. But yeah, your best looks different every day. That's a good way of putting it.
And that progress isn't linear. You're not going to go on a straight line up. It's going to go
right. It's a zigzag kind of thing. But there's this difference between what we know is true and what we expect to be true. And my friend Danny is a writer. He asked this great question one time when he was working on a script. He asked, when people behave in a way, and we're talking about like a character in a script, right? When people behave in a way that we know that they're going to behave because that's what they've always done, but we expect something else from them. For instance, say I have a hypothetical uncle who is always late. And I get to the restaurant and I'm waiting for my uncle to show up, and he's late. And here I am disappointed. What do I get out of expecting my uncle to be on time when he's never been on time in this example? Right? And I think we do the same thing interpersonally. I think we do the same thing to ourselves, where I know that I'm someone who sets 10 goals for a day and can maybe accomplish 2 of them. But I tell myself day and day and day after that I'm like, yeah, today's the day I'm going to do 10 things. So why do we do that? We set ourselves up for disappointment. Exactly. I see Eddie and Betty. How you doing with the tea?
Yeah.
So, drinking from a mug with my face on it.
So why do we do that? What is the root of why we self-sabotage? Because I think that there's different reasons why, but if we can really like try and get to the root of what is it that is triggering us to behave in that way, since it's something we're doing to ourselves. So it's not coming from outside the house. It's coming from inside. The call is coming from inside. So what are the things that will trigger that kind of behavior or mindset in yourself? Because I think it's different for everybody. For me, if I'm thinking about it,
how do you self-sabotage the most? You got an example?
Yeah, I mean, I think I self-sabotage. The big one that comes to my mind is when I have an audition for something that I really like and I really care about it. And I'm like, ooh, this would be so much fun. And then I get in my way so much because I have a perfectionist idea of how the scene or how the character should go. And I'm never gonna meet that because because it's a perfectionist idea. And so I have a fear of failure, of not being able to deliver. So then I kind of make myself fail because I'm overthinking it and I'm getting really hard on myself and I'm just kind of choking it, So then I end up having this horrible experience auditioning. I know you and I have had this. Thank you.
Oh my God. If you're an actor, just do yourself a favor and maybe find someone with a different life path.
But, we've helped each other. And this used to happen to me so often when I would do a self-tape, which means like we're auditioning, we're not having to go somewhere. We're doing it ourselves.
It's hell. It's actual hell.
Yeah. And the amount of like beating myself up and just like that I would put myself through. I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but it's definitely like...
It's definitely gotten better, but that's also because basically our spirit has been broken, and the reality that we're not going to get to go into an audition where they hired a reader who's going to do the scene with us, they set up the camera, they deal with the lights and the microphone, they edit the tape. Now that's all our burden, and before we're hired. So our spirits have been broken, and we have to just suck it up and deal with it. The reality is I do the same thing with auditions, for instance. That's maybe my biggest area of self-sabotage, is that if I really want a thing, I will drag my feet to prepare for it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
procrastination.
I'm going to procrastinate. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
I'll do it later.
And if I can, I think it's because if I'm worried that I wouldn't book the part, and therefore the audition failed, even though we all know there's 100 people that auditioned for one part and 99 people didn't fail, 99 people just weren't for the part. There's an element of control in me not preparing, me giving a lackluster audition, and then I didn't get it, but I didn't get it because, you know what, I was just focused on other stuff. I had to I had to deal with trimming this tree. Mm-hmm. So I chose trimming a tree over the part, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I'm tired of the idea of putting my whole heart into something and then being like, me? And then no is the answer. Do you know what I mean? And so I do think that we self-sabotage as a way to comfort ourselves, or a way to have control, or I do anyway, because then it's more about, I don't know, like that I'm not, I just like, so, I mean, maybe it's for everybody, but like for me, so much of my life is out of my control. I mean, this stream is out of my control, really. I mean, like how my day is going, like another way I self-sabotage, and I'm getting better at this. We talked again with our friend Danny about meditating, and we've been doing that for a couple days in a row. What is it, like 4 days now? Yeah. Feels pretty good. But when I wake up, I turn on my phone and I go like this for the email to get some news. 9 times out of 10, not much news, just regular emails or whatever. But sometimes I get a big piece of news before my brain is fully on, and often it's a reply to something else, and if it doesn't go exactly my way or whatever, then my whole day starts with that disadvantage kind of a thing. Occasionally, very rarely, do I wake up and go, oh, we heard back from so-and-so, and the thing is gonna da-da-da-da, and it's happening, right? And so what happens is I'm hoping when I wake up, oh, I hope there's some good news. Give me the little lottery of my phone. Give me some good news. And then 9 times out of 10, it isn't good news. It's just no news or bad news. And then my day starts off rough. And so I have to pick a specific action to stop that. So what I want to do with this conversation is like look at the constraint, look at the restriction, look at the thing, the dopamine roulette, exactly. Give me the thing that I'm running up against, and then let's try to find a specific correction for that. So in my example of waking up and looking at my phone and hoping for some good news, what can I do? What can I do to stop that? Has anybody got any ideas? What are some ideas? How do I stop that?
Do something else first.
Do something else first? Yeah, okay, do something else first, but then doesn't that require me to like, wake up and have like the manpower to do something else first? Because my instinct...
No phone after waking up?
No phone. Team, I've been turning my phone off and putting it in the other room in like a kind of inconvenient location. So it's just not there. That has helped in this has only been 4 days, team. I've done this in different phases, ebb and flow. Sometimes like things get really...
Stretch first.
Right. So in the last 4 days, I've been waking up, I've been getting my journal. I write for like a page and a half, and it's really, honestly, it's just like, I slept poorly. This is miserable. Oh God. Okay. I have a short amount of time. I got to get going. What am I going to do today? Okay. Here's what I'm going to do today. Okay. Come on, Brian. Let's go. Get up. Let's go. Like, that's it. It's not like a beautiful poem or anything. It's just like me talking to myself. And then I've been sitting for 11 minutes. I set the timer for 11 minutes because it takes me a minute or two to kind of get centered or so. And I've been sitting there, and that has been helping a lot. But it's like a specific answer to a specific problem. So does someone want to be like an example? Does anyone want to show out and say, hey, I got this self-sabotagey kind of thing that we could brainstorm? Amelia, do you want to throw one out there? Does anybody
Let's see.
Anybody in the stream want to throw one out? Because I'm thinking that because there's so many different symptoms of self-sabotage that there's not going to be like one, here, take this pill and your self-sabotage will go away, right? There's not like one answer for this thing. All right, staying up way too late. Okay, that's an interesting one. Wasteland 6463 says staying up too late. There we go. Should we talk about the sleep thing? Is that an example? I mean, because when I'm playing a game or something, I'm often like, I need to go to bed. I'm doing worse and worse, but I'm still staying there.
Oh, here's one. I say Susie and Raleigh Jogger Jones talk about sabotaging friendships. So distancing yourself from friends for no reason, or distancing yourself from your friends because you expect to be hurt or betrayed. Anybody else feel that form of self-sabotage happening to them? I definitely have found myself doing that for sure.
Reminds me of Emperor Palpatine. And your faith in your friends is yours. I just feel like, okay, so that's a complicated one because that involves other people. In the phone example, I can do something physically with this phone that I can't do with friends, really, in the same way, right? Interesting. You did not just compare me to Palpatine. No, I'm talking about Palpatine's in your mind. Palpatine's in all of our minds.
So the first thing that comes to my mind of like, okay, why would I or why would someone start to sabotage or push away a friend, someone who's close to them? What would be the reasoning? The thing that popped into my mind is fear that you're gonna get hurt, or like if something happened bad in the past with somebody else, that maybe you're projecting that fear or that set of circumstances on this other friendship. Fear of disappointing them, that they're gonna leave you anyway, fear of rejection, fear of losing the friendship. So in a sense, if you're afraid of losing the friendship, you're like, I'm gonna be the one that leaves first. So do you think that's because somebody else in the past left you, and so you have this like open wound that you've been carrying around and have not been able to heal?
I don't know. It's tricky. I mean, this is very indirect. But can I throw this out?
Yeah.
I don't have that problem. I don't run into that.
I've had this problem.
That's not a thing for me. I know, but I'm thinking about why do I not feel that way? And I think since I was a little kid, I was sort of obsessed with this notion of how many people were on the planet. Like, since I was a little kid, I don't know where I learned that information, but the current world population is 8.1 billion people. So not that people are like dispensable or replaceable or whatever, but I've always just sort of felt like if I had a friend that wasn't a friend and the friendship fell apart, well, there's 8.1 billion more. You know what I mean? So for me personally, like I've never really had enemies. I don't really hang on to like relationships that weren't working and tension and stuff that isn't good. I just stopped thinking about them forever. Maybe that's like too absolute or something. But for me, I just don't feel like, I don't feel kind of like I need to like serve my friends or they'll leave me or something. Like I don't have that feeling. Like I'm not worried about disappointing my friends, because like if I disappointed my friends, then like what were their expectations of me that I failed to live up to? And if I'm not good enough to meet your expectations, then fuck off, I guess. I don't know. I guess the maybe I felt that way more before I left my hometown. Maybe when I was back, I grew up in a suburb in Michigan, so I knew a lot fewer people. And then I went away to school in New York, and I did not know one person in all of New York City. And New York City itself has millions and millions of people. And so there's this, I guess maybe when I went through like kind of a great friends cycle. Like I do have some friends. Who's your oldest friend? That's an interesting question.
Well, that's actually interesting because my oldest friend, I feel like I've, the distance is a bit of is a very major thing of like, I feel, and also lifestyle's changing so much. And so it's like,
Right.
I feel like in a way I've lost things to relate with them about, beyond like, oh, we used to know each other when we were in kindergarten, but now it's like, I reach out and like I don't hear back from her, and so there's also a little bit of a mourning for me.
Yeah, that's what,
like,
that is sad.
It's a mourning of
sad.
like a friend that I used to be close with, and now they're like, gone, and I feel like that. It's like a mourning a friendship that's no longer, Yeah.
Yeah. This is reminding me of something from like 5th grade. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think was totally full of shit when I said I've never felt this way. I think that I was thinking about like, there's a friend I had in my neighborhood who like, we used to ride bikes around and trade Pokemon cards. And it was like, this was like childhood style neighborhood, knock, knock, can you come out and play kind of thing. And then it was the very beginning of the internet. And actually he started playing a game that was like, not RuneScape, but something that was like Nexus Quest or something that came like right before that, whatever. Somebody here knows what it's called. But his dad worked for a tech company, so they had 2 phone lines. And so they could be on the internet and receive phone calls at the same time. Crazy, I know, but this is how it was. Was it EverQuest? Maybe it was. It could have been EverQuest. That had like a tiger on the front of the thing. I don't know. Or a person who was like a tiger, like a Rakshasa. Anyway, I couldn't get on dial-up internet after school to play this game with this friend who was my friend from like 5th grade until like high school, like sophomore year of high school. And then he was like only hanging out in real life with his friends who would actually play the game online. We had a literal like the telephone cable that went across the living room to plug into the thing behind the couch. Like we had to move the couch and hey Raiders, come on in.
Hey Raiders, hello.
And we had to plug it in. And so I just like literally couldn't play the game with him. So therefore he was like, you can't hang. Bye. I'm hooked on this game. And I was so heartbroken about it because I was like, Mom, like this guy's been my friend like the whole time. He's like my like neighborhood buddy. And like now he like won't even give me the time of day in the lunchroom, And she gave me the example of like if you were playing a slot machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
She grew up in Nevada. And you put in a coin and you pulled the thing. And no money came out, you didn't win. You put in another quarter and you pulled the thing and no money came out, you didn't win. You put in another quarter, you pulled it. Like how many times are you going to put in a quarter to a friendship, pull the thing in the friendship and nothing comes back at you in the friendship before you just get up and walk away, And so I guess maybe that's where I learned this idea of like, if a friendship gets to a point where it's like, it just doesn't work, I'm putting in and you're not, then bye, And the friend you're referencing, I understand. It's like, but I personally have been more quick to, I guess, bail. But I don't know if that's necessarily the healthiest choice.
I just had a realization. So for anyone who's just joining us from DJ1 Elise's channel, we're talking about self-sabotage and how to stop it and what are the different forms that it comes up in.
What it is.
But I just had like a moment that I think... because speaking for myself, because I'm living my own experience, but the reason that I self-sabotage, where I get in my own way, where I procrastinate, where I throw like a I throw a boulder in front of myself, is because I am maybe consciously or unconsciously holding on to a wound, like a wound, an emotional wound that has happened somewhere in my past. And so when I'm coming up against something that is similar, or it has a memory or a similarity, that I react in a way that is like, oh, no, not this. So for an example of like me really wanting an audition that I care so much about, I am confident that I have had an experience where I wanted something so bad and I fell so horribly, like I just crashed and burned. It was like so humiliating. And so then in the future, when I'm feeling this like, oh, I really want something, there's a subconscious part of myself that's like, careful, you're going to crash and burn and you're going to humiliate yourself. So maybe take some distance, maybe like put it off a little while, maybe like don't put your work into it, maybe don't go there, or like make sure you're like beating yourself up, because if you think too highly of yourself, you're going to crash and burn. Same with friendships, like having a friendship that where somebody really hurt me because they left and they decided like you're like what you're saying.
You can't play
like,
EverQuest. You can't hang.
You can't play with me anymore. And so then in the future, if I'm starting to feel, we're in this place where I'm feeling close, but like you're getting maybe like interested in something else that I'm not quite as interested in, I'm gonna self-sabotage by like distancing myself from you so that you don't distance yourself from me. So it's these like open wounds.
Yeah, Crispy Cactus is saying emotional wounds.
Yeah, open emotional wounds that I haven't dealt with. And so then the way that I am dealing with it is actually by sabotaging myself so that I don't get hurt, but then I'm actually getting hurt, but then I'm thinking,
but at least like, you're the one doing the hurting instead of someone else. Can I throw this out there? It sounds like we're both describing two different reactions to a similar problem. If it was a spectrum, we have on one side holding on to the wound and leaving it open and letting it fester.
Whoa.
Or on my side of the thing being like, you cut me once, you're never cutting me again. Anybody comes to the point where they're gonna like start to sever or degrade a friendship, I'm gonna cut out first, right? So let's think about this. If we're taking you're both somehow, I think it's valid. I mean, the question, I guess, if we're looking for this, like the middle ground, like the middle way, right? This sort of gray Jedi path in the middle, that there's this, if the image is an emotional wound, let's translate it to a physical wound. What a physical wound that's left open gets infected, and it gets funky, and it could create a bigger problem. You have to
cut something off.
You might have to amputate, right? Or the other side is basically like you've been wounded, but now you're like wearing tons and tons and tons of armor, so that you don't get cut like that again, right?
Yeah.
So one is over encumbered because you're equipped with too much armor for the situation, and the other is under encumbered but very vulnerable, and I don't know, like most women in video games that men have designed where their armor is a bikini. And then the situation in the middle, I guess, is it embracing the scars? Is it like having that cut but now it's healed and you're like, I have a wound?
I guess you have to also like acknowledge it and treat it. You have to figure out like what is the balm that I can put on this to help it heal, because if I just don't look at it, it's going to continue to grow. Or if I put tons of armor on it, it's still underneath there, but it's like so thick with cover that I can't. So
we have to treat the wound.
We have to figure out what we have to treat
and embrace the scar. Damn. I would love these streams because honestly, these are things that like you don't arrive at these thoughts until you like talk them out. And honestly, like everybody kind of chipping in little pieces and phrases, it's really helpful, because I do believe that we're all kind of this like hive mind, right? Like we all share a lot of similar experiences, even though each of our experiences is very, very unique. You know, like a lot of us can say, oh yeah, I recognize that when someone else types in the chat. Yeah. But then the next thing that comes up in the chat, you could be like, nah, it's not me at all. You know, so the trick here is we're kind of like trying to read the tea leaves a little bit of like, what do we all kind of land on? But that's a huge one. I mean, wow. ZYX says, I somewhat feel like we make things too complicated. Yeah. Truth is usually simple and very direct. Yeah. Which is a bit of the thing behind the good mammal name, for instance. Like a good mammal, like a dog or my cat, if he's tired, he's gonna sleep, and there's no like anything else to it. It's just a tired dog. He lays down, he sleeps. If he's hungry, he gets up and he goes and eats. you know, and what I'm looking for, I want to live a life that feels more like that. I'm trying to like revert to a simpler existence, because what I'm finding when you talk to our elders, and God, I wish we had a stream. We should start like interviewing our elders. There's an interview series called Wisdom that I really, really love. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's with elders of our community. It's people that are, I think it was 65 or something was the cutoff, and then they interview people like all kinds of people, all actors, politicians, designers, artists, all sorts of stuff. But doesn't it feel like, not all, but doesn't it seem like more and more of the elders in our communities have like a simpler point of view about stuff? Like, isn't it kind of like a meme of old people that are like, how are you? You know, I'm terrible. You know, they just say it right there, and it's not as heady. Like, I feel like whenever I've been talking to like my grandparents and stuff, I really like that not that they have the answers, but they at least have an answer for them. And I do feel like when I was 15, I was really like, what? Oh my God, what the hell, what? And then
hormones.
And then like at 25, I was like, what? I mean, okay. And like now at 35, it's like, okay. So I hope that by 45 and 55 and 65, I'll at least have a clear answer for myself on some stuff, you know?
Sarah,
I don't know.
1703 says, I need advice. My ex was awful to me, and I've been holding on to her, and I think I should delete her number.
Yeah.
Should I?
Fuck yeah.
Because I would feel awful then.
Why?
Do it.
Why?
Do it.
Do it right now.
Do it.
Why do you need a phone number of a shitty person?
Yeah.
There's 8.1 billion people on the planet, assuming that 51% of them are female, and that's what you're into. Like, you've got like over 4 billion other women on the planet to consider. Yeah. 4 billion.
Yeah. No, I think that by holding on to that, you're literally like holding on to those.
We all agree.
To that hurt, to that memory, like cast it off.
No, it's very important. I'm a big fan of the unfriend if you need to, the mute if you need to, because otherwise
done. Yes. High five.
Done. Nice.
High five.
High five. Mission successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, see, but isn't that like, okay, you just did it that quick, right? Because Amelia and I said, okay, just delete that number real quick.
Well, it's also,
but don't you feel like you wanted to delete it, or you wouldn't have mentioned it?
You did.
You wouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah, you wanted to delete it, but then you had doubt.
So much doubt.
So much doubt.
If you've never seen the play Doubt, just put yourself there for a while.
That's that.
That.
Yeah, you wanted to. Yeah, of course.
Anybody else want to delete someone's phone number? Now's the time. Calling all. If you've got a weird number in your phone,
delete them.
Yeah. Or you can even have more fun and block them and then change it to like a number you don't know. You know, or a name that you don't know. You know, it's like
you can change the name.
Carl Ragnunimus or whatever.
Or like that one or whatever it is. You know,
it's just because I think that sometimes we're worried so much about other people, and I'm telling you this: how worried are you about other people? You know, I think we all have this image that other people are thinking about us way more than we're thinking about them. Everybody's thinking about themselves. Aren't they?
I mean, I usually am thinking about myself.
I'm just saying, like, you this is the kind of thing that gets us really stuck. Because when I'm feeling insecure or something, or when I'm like doubting myself or like whatever, I'm just thinking constantly about like, okay, was the person that I just had a meeting with, like, did they think I was awkward the way I was standing there? Like, looking back at the picture, like, did that shirt have too many flowers? Like, my hair was like this, and like that's not a good look to meet somebody. Like, what did they think about that? And I'm willing to bet that the whole time during that meeting, the other person was having a similar kind of situation. Did I blink too much? Did I not blink enough? You know? And so the way I go with it is it sounds like heartless, but I know that I'm such a deep feeling and empathetic person that I have to be sort of heartless sometimes I have to go Spock on it. I have to be like, it just doesn't matter. Oh my God, there's this great never mind. I'm gonna look up the movie. There's a Bill Murray movie where he's talking to, what is it?
Boundaries. I mean, I was just.
Oh, you're just muttering boundaries.
Yeah. Boundaries.
There's this clip of Bill Murray, and he's giving this healthy detachment. Exactly. He's giving a pep rally to the kids on a high school team, and they're like a football team, and they're losing. They're like really, really down, and they're getting beat by like the rich fancy kids that have like all of the cheerleaders and fancy uniforms and everything. And he's basically just giving them this pep talk, and he's getting them all to chant with him like, and what happens if we win the game? And what happens if we lose the game? It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And almost everything in like a week or a month and a year and 10 years, like the further you go out, is it Meatballs? I don't know if that's the name of it. I don't know.
Check it out.
I'll look it up.
It's Leanna. Thank you so much for the cheers. Appreciate you being here with us on this Good Mammal stream. And just said dum dum. Thanks for being here for 2 months. Up all night. Thanks for the gifted sub to Freya. And Varden Villager, how you doing?
It is Meatballs.
You got a Twitch baby coming.
Raise it up right.
Teach it to vote.
That's right.
And Siren Love, thanks for being here for 3 months. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I mean, can you look back a week ago and tell me each of the things you had for dinner? Can you tell me 7 things you had unless you eat only the same thing? I mean, maybe if you're on a strict diet, you do have to keep track of that kind of stuff. But like, just ramen, just 7 days of ramen, just one long noodle for 7 days. For me, that's kind of a good little example. Like, what you eat for dinner is important while you're eating it. But like, what I ate for dinner yesterday is like less important. What I ate for dinner a week ago, I have no idea what I ate for dinner a month ago, for instance. And I really think that some of this stuff that we get really hung up on, you just forget it. It matters in the moment, but it doesn't matter tomorrow sometimes. Sometimes it does, I guess, but not always.
So something else I saw a lot of people talking about with how they self-sabotage is a fear of failure. So fear of failure, fear of not being able to succeed in your goal.
Let's unpack that.
And so instead you make yourself fail. So that way you're still failing, but you did it on your own. So yeah, let's unpack that. Let's unpack that because
I mean, what you just described, like I would rather like my procrastination example, if I don't prep enough and then I don't book it, then I didn't book it not because I'm a bad actor or I'm not the best actor for the part, but because I chose to procrastinate it and not prepare.
But then you're still fulfilling the prophecy of failure because you're doing it to yourself.
Then why do we choose to do it to ourselves instead of have someone else do it? Because of a sense of control. That's what I think. I really think it has to do with a sense of I am having influence on my life. Then I guess the bigger question to ask is like, how much do you really want it? How important is this? How important is it for you to succeed at this goal? Is it more important than the control of what if it doesn't happen? Like, which one you have to weigh? Like, which one has more weight? Which one is more important to you? Because if your choice is, I'm gonna try and I could fail, but somebody else will tell me that I failed. I can try and I can succeed and then I can get it, or I can make myself fail so that I didn't even, I basically just like cut myself off on the knees. Yeah, Chris Rock calls it the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. So I guess we have the failure on one side of doing it ourselves, and then we have the possibility of like, we could succeed, we could fail, but then at least we tried and we have something to like, we've learned a lesson so that we know how we can go back to try it again. So I guess that's what I would ask myself is which one is more important to me, to have the control and fail?
There's a third option here. The third option is a different goal. Because like, for instance, I'll use going to the gym as an example. There was a time in my life, right after college especially, where going to the gym and being like fit was super, super important to me. It was largely connected to being a desirable partner or to get a date.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I needed to be ripped. And also I was incredibly broke and sort of sad. So you get endorphins when you exercise. So if you do feel a sense of sadness, or for me anyway, it was a good way to combat depression. I was running. So I have a gym membership. I haven't gone to the gym in a while, long time. I went to the gym like 4 times in a row since I got the gym membership. I think it has to do with the fact that like there's an idea that my goal is that I should, like, if I was taking like thirst trap pictures for Instagram, that it would be like a great thing for me. So like I should do that. But then like if I really like sit quietly and meditate, like I've always kind of like laughed at that. I've always kind of like deprioritized like that. I've always said that's like someone else. It's like, oh, my brother is the strong athletic one, And so I think that sometimes we get hung up on failing a goal or sabotaging a goal, a self-sabotaging practice, because the thing that we're saying is the goal isn't actually that important to us. Like, I want to be healthy. I want to be like moving around and active and stuff, but like, I'm just not motivated to like get a 6-pack. I just don't need one. Do I? I mean, I don't know. Like, I think sometimes maybe we spend a lot of time like engineering and re-engineering and engineering and re-engineering and figuring out these problems and all this kind of stuff. But then if we take a closer look at it, like maybe it's your own brain just being like, you don't want to be a painter. You're not self-sabotaging yourself on your way to being a painter. You just would rather drive a race car. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because I think sometimes
yeah,
that's where I'm like,
maybe if you find yourself self-sabotaging for a certain goal, like something that you're trying to achieve, maybe then like re-examining that goal and seeing, is this something that I really want? And how important is it to me? Is there a way that I can break it down into smaller goals? So that way it's not this one big thing of like getting a 6-pack. It's like, it's having smaller, healthy, like smaller goals on your way to that. So that way you're not like throwing a wrench so much in front of like a big thing that kind of feels unattainable, which maybe, is it because it feels unattainable and that's why we self-sabotage?
I don't know. Is it unattainable? What do you think, boys? Nope, they're not into it. They don't care. I don't know. I think for me, though, you can go the other way where I attach it to something that's more important. Because I think a lot about, I don't know. Here's a little tangent question. Are you someone who can think about the short term, the near term? Like what I'm going to do today, what I'm going to do tomorrow? But maybe it's harder to set goals for way down the line? Are you someone who's like in the more midterm where you're thinking about like, what do I want to do in the next like year or semester or, 2 years? Or are you someone who's always thinking about the very long term? Maybe it's because of my sort of fascination with mortality as a kid. I don't know what, but I have been always thinking about like 10 years, 20 years. I think about 80-year-old Brian a lot. And so for me, maybe it's about not the 6-pack is like an immediate or like a midterm. That would be like a 6-pack, something I could achieve if I went to the gym and I did that for like a year or two or something, But really what would motivate me for the gym is like not dying a early death because I don't take care of myself physically. You know what I mean? Like maybe I have to reframe so that then instead of having my resistance to like this kind of goal that I don't really care about, my actual goal is more of like, I just don't want to have a heart attack when I'm young,
Well, I think that maybe one of the ways that we can assist ourselves through the self-sabotage, that doubt, the obstacles that we throw on ourselves in the way of ourselves when it comes to fear of failure or something, is to break something down into little smaller pieces. Just like, okay, we started playing Uncharted 2. And when I was thinking about that opening sequence, like, we're Nathan Drake. We're literally hanging off the edge of a train that's hanging off the edge of a mountain. We're cut, we're bloody, we got bloody hands, and the train is slowly falling down.
It's getting worse constantly.
So the only option that we have is to literally do one little move at a time, slowly, like moving around this train, making one move up. It starts to fall, but then you have to leap to another one. And a lot of the time, the way out of the situation is not the most direct way, because there's a fire, or because,
I like this.
or because, the pipe is moving. So we have to take an alternative route.
Yeah.
But in what Nathan is doing and what we're doing as the player is we're literally taking one step, one movement at a time in order to get up and off of this train
that's
hanging off of the edge. So then if we can take that idea and bring it into how can we move past this roadblock that we're throwing, instead of being like, I have to do this big major thing, take one little move at a time.
The platforming of it all.
Platform your way past. Make tiny little goals to move.
And actually, that's the play, right? I mean, because can you imagine if you're the player protagonist in a video game and you walked up to the door and it opened, and then you went through the door and you wanted to get in the elevator and you pushed the button and it went up, and you didn't have to climb in through the window, and you didn't have to go find the generator, and you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, the entire game in a platforming action adventure game like Uncharted is really the going out of your way to get around the obstacles that come. That's where the fun comes in.
Mm-hmm. And it's also literally one move at a time, I'm thinking of those little bricks that he has to grab onto. One brick. Oh, this brick is falling. Gotta leap to the other one, or you die. But then you get reset, you get reset again. So you have to learn, okay, this one's going to jiggle and fall, so I have to move fast past that one. So we have to also be aware of our own, the path that we've done. Like, what is if we're repeating the same cycle, what are the steps? What are the patterns of the cycles that we get stuck in? Which are the little bricks that are going to jiggle loose and fall that we have to move by quickly,
Right. Or we look for patterns of there's that Naughty Dog yellow.
Yeah.
I can climb that thing. That's it. That looks like a climbable thing. So getting to understand our environment better. And that's, I guess, what I'm saying is I feel like the older we get, the more life experience we have, the clearer those patterns become. When I was working on Detroit Become Human, I read this book by Michio Kaku called Physics of the Future. And it was about artificial intelligence and basically what is the difference between a computer and us. And artificial intelligence has two major obstacles. The first is basically pattern recognition. Humans are really good at pattern recognition, so good that it even becomes a problem for us. It's the same part of your brain that can look at a cloud and go, oh, I see a dog, I see a dragon, I see a face. Humans can find faces on everything, on the rocks in a tree. Anywhere. You find patterns. Computers can compute, they can do computational equations faster than us, but they're not as good at pattern recognition as humans. And the other thing is common sense. Because for common sense to work, there's an individual line of code that has to be written. So for AI to be successful, it would have to know that I can use a string to pull something. If I tied something over here, I can use a string to pull, but I cannot use a string to push. And you have to learn these individual common sense things that anyone would just know. Of course, you can't use a string to push something. You can only use a string to pull something. But you have to teach a computer each individual case, individual line of code for those cases to be true. So when I'm looking at this kind of stuff, I'm thinking about like, how can I, in my brain, take an individual example, and the older we get, the more life experience we have, the more times we fail, predominantly, do we learn that individual line of code of like, oh, if I do my work outside as the sun is setting and I'm spraying the plants, I'm going to get bitten by all these mosquitoes. That was one of my dreams last night. So I was being eaten by bugs. It was horrible. But I don't know. I'm just thinking like we can be patient with ourselves as we're writing this code, because we're both the machine and the coder. You know what I mean? We're the android and the Kamsky.
Also, sometimes maybe because we're so good at recognizing patterns, maybe sometimes we start to see a pattern where there isn't one.
This is what I'm saying.
For example, like with the example we were talking earlier about when you have a friendship and you start to push them away for no reason, there must be a reason, or if you push them away because you're afraid that they're going to hurt you, maybe you're looking and seeing like, they're getting interested in something else just like that other person did. So this means that they're going to leave me and I'm going to be out of a friend. I'm going to have a broken heart. So I'm going to leave you first. So we're finding a pattern where there isn't one yet. You know, we're finishing the sentence that somebody else is still writing.
So how do we determine what's actually a pattern and what's a false positive of the pattern? I think it's greater analysis of the situation.
Yeah.
Because if someone, in my example of the EverQuest friend who stopped being my friend, I blamed video games a little bit too. I mean, that's kind of when I went the hard route towards like, I'm a theater kid and I want to be like a, you know, throw my scarf actor, you know, and I didn't, and I saw like, you know, my brother playing video games, World of Warcraft. I was like, no, that's a waste of time. Like, it's gonna be bad for your grades. And so like, I started blaming video games for this friendship falling apart when really it was just that one friend.
Oh my God.
What's the epiphany? Here it comes.
I just had an epiphany. Okay, when I was in 5th grade, I switched and I was in a new school. And I became friends with a couple different people. There was one girl who was also new. She was like, the two of us bonded the fact that we were like a little awkward and
just a little.
Yeah, we bonded over that. And then I also became friends with a group of girls. And I remember I was trying to take my one new friend and hang out with her also with the group of girls. But then the leader of the group said to me, she was like, we don't like her, so you have to pick. You have to pick, do you want to be friends with us or do you want to be friends with her? Because you can't have both. And so then I was like, well,
holy shit.
I know. She has
that's like a television show.
5th grade. And so I was like, well, she doesn't have anybody else and you guys have a whole group. So I'm going to pick this one friend. So I feel like that has been an open wound for me with being friends with a group, because for the longest time, actually up until I met Brian, I did not have groups of friends. I had one. It was very like individual, but I didn't have a group. And it wasn't until like we started dating and then you were introducing me to your group of friends. And then I started to be friends with a group of the girls. But I also had a lot of like fear around that because I maybe subconsciously was afraid that I was going to be forced to pick because I had such like an impactful moment when I was younger.
Damn, that's criminal.
Yeah, and so feeling like I didn't belong or like, you know, kind of on the outside of this group, even though they were being like, come on, let's all be friends. And wow. Just having all of these like realizations of like, why do I have fear around having a group of friends?
Oh man. I mean, I was teasing in the Uncharted playthrough about like the shitty little 15-year-old boy. Sounds like a shitty little 15-year-old girl is
It
even
was younger
shittier.
than that. It was younger. It was like 10 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm grateful days. I did not have that
days,
situation. I did not. Oh my gosh. That sounds rough.
It was.
That sounds rough.
Girls can be really mean. I mean, boys can too. But girls can be really mean
but
to each
girls,
other.
I feel like sometimes it's like psychological warfare. Like that sounds really rough. Whereas guys are just a little more straightforward in my experience. I mean, I feel like it's like, you suck at basketball, you're not on our team. Bye.
Yeah.
You know, it's not kind of like that, like subversive kind of, you're going to have to figure it out for forever. Wow. Psychological warfare kind of shit. Oh, man. Yeah.
So, I mean,
This has been very helpful. Thank you all for helping us figure some shit out, huh?
But what I would encourage you to do is if you have like if there's a certain like thing that makes you go ugh, where you start recognizing that you're self-sabotaging in a certain circumstance, because it's going to be different for everybody, because we all have a different trigger, we all have a different wound, we all have a different soft spot that's
emotional palette.
Yeah, that's going to trigger your self-sabotaging tactics. So if we can try and trace back, what is this? Where did this come from? If we can find that the core of it, then we can start to heal it, and then we can start to move past and not carry that with us. Because honestly, like, I'm thinking about these moments, these realizations, I don't need that. It's not helping me.
Doesn't sound fun.
No, honestly, it's like it's moments of feeling alone or feeling like embarrassed or feeling like, you know.
Well, can I throw out that we had a great stream with Dr. Mick, ! Dr. Mick in the chat will get you to his channel. He's a licensed therapist. Amelia and I are not therapists. We're actors who suffer the human condition as you do. So we're here to talk about these kind of things, but we do not have the answers to these things. So I think what Amelia is describing is a great first step or an approach where if you're like, I got this thing that's like been hanging out over my shoulder and I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah,
a therapist is a great way to talk through some of these things with somebody who really understands and can help you to land on some of these discussions and to land on some of the kind of the little log line at the end. Because I get a lot of mileage. I don't know how you all feel about this, but if I can get like a mantra or like a log line or like a little sentence that just helps me, you know, like not all friendships are competitions or something, you know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing.
Or like
it can help you to kind of have like a spark notes.
I forgive myself. I forgive myself. That's a
that's huge. I think to stop self-sabotaging, we have to forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we've all self-sabotaged and we all are likely to repeat that. Mm-hmm. So if we can forgive ourselves and give ourselves some grace, some patience, and you know, be gentle with ourselves. We talk about that a lot.
What are some mantras? What are some sayings or little phrases that are exciting or sparkly for you? I see Star Damage Music says not all failures are permanent.
Okay, I like that. That's true.
Itsy Bitsy says failure is not the end. I can do it again. August says this thing won't win me.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah. Kay says error is to be human.
There it is.
Random says if you don't aim for the sky, you'll never get off the ground.
I use you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That is usually motivates me to be more courageous. I think a lot of what we're talking about here has to do with fear. And a lot of the fear, in my experience, can be met with the concept of courage. So I think about this courageous version of me. There's a lot of things here. You survived every one of your bad days. Yes.
Yeah.
Stand on everything you've ever done is one I like.
Remember who you
are. You are my son and the one true king. Remember. Hey, Lesbian ASFU, thank you for the 11 months. And Metagog, Thank you for being here for 36 months. That's 3 years.
Welcome back. Coley's back for 5 months.
Welcome back.
I see Big O's 1 is back for 6. And Sahalazar, thanks for being here for 10 months.
Thank you for being here for 10. I'm going to say thank you to our mods real quick. Thank you, mods.
Thanks, mods.
Thank you, lieutenants. Appreciate you helping out on Discord and Twitch. Feel free to keep sharing some good mantras in the chat if you like. Let's take a little 5-minute hydration break as we do each hour or hour and a half. And we'll come back for some more streaming on the other side.
Yes.
Saturn Revolve, welcome back for 3 months.
Yeah, let's take
Thank
some little breaths. These are little Tibetan chimes that my dad gave me. I love them. So when you hear the first chime, breathe in, and then when you hear the second chime, breathe out.
All right.
Nice reset.
One just popped into my brain.
What?
Hold on a little while longer. Everything will be all right. Yeah. One day at a time, team.
Yeah.
One day at a time. Let's take 5. Would you like a tune? This is by our buddy Lo the Music Man. Let's take 5 minutes. If you need some hydration, if you need a snack, if you need to stretch, if you want to take 5 minutes and just breathe, I really recommend it. And I will see you on the other side.
In 5.
Thank you, team. See you in 5. Click, 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 click. Frosty, Ozzy, oi, oi, oi.
Frosty Ozzy.
Thank you, Frosty
Thank you
Ozzy.
so much. Thank you for the gifts of group hug.
Yes, thank you for the gift sub group hug love, and thank you all for being here with us. If you got one of those 5 gifted subs from Frosty Ozzy, please be sure to say
Thank you.
oi and check out the starter kit. Appreciate you muchly. Thank you for joining us, and the starter kit will show you around. It gives you the lay of the land. I really appreciate 28. Good work, team.
Yeah.
It is September. If you'd like to subscribe, you can, and it will support us doing this. We are
Talking about
self-sabotage
self-sabotage.
and how to stop it. Cut it out.
Stop it.
If you need to have the voice in your head be Amelia and I saying, "Come on now, stop it."
Stop it.
Go ahead and clip that and
Stop it.
play it for yourself. The trick seems to be like not self-policing, but
Self-awareness.
self-awareness and self-governance. Has anybody seen this? There's a video. I don't know who exactly is giving the speech, but the conversation is about whether or not people can govern themselves, and an example of that, or like a litmus test or a microcosm for that, is putting the cart away at the grocery store. I personally go to the grocery store and I see somebody come and they park a cart and they just kind of leave it in the spot next to my car, and then they just get in their car and they leave.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, are people inherently good or are they inherently evil? The cart abandoners, right? And I will always go get that cart in particular, and kind of look at them as I go if I can. But it's a bit of that. It's the moment of having the cart and you're done with it and having to decide, I'm going to go do this, even though it's like a little more inconvenient. There's a little bit more of an obstacle, but it's not that bad.
No.
But I'm gonna go put the cart back. That's the way I feel about these self-sabotage thoughts sometimes. Is like I don't feel like, because otherwise if we didn't know we were self-sabotaging, you wouldn't have recommended this subject last week, right? And we wouldn't be talking about it right now. So everybody knows in their heart when they have the cart that it goes back in the cart thing.
Rhymed. Knows in their heart when they have the cart.
And it was said by Dechart. Oh! Follow the money and see where it goes. But basically what I'm saying is it's the little moment of deciding, am I gonna bail on this cart Or am I gonna just do the slightly more difficult, the thing with that has a little resistance to it? I think that's the intersection of it for me, because we're all aware that the cart goes in the cart spot, and we're all aware that, like, I don't really want to. I just want to go home.
It's also hot.
It's hot out here.
It's so far away.
I have no reason to put the cart back. Who cares? The planet's dying anyway. Just fucking be covered in a cart someday. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's literally just like a self discipline or
it's a mindfulness. It's being self-aware. It's
choosing. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a deliberate action that we make.
So I think what we could in the way to combat a self-sabotaging tactics that we do could be being more self-aware. I am doing it.
All right, here's the moment.
I know what I'm doing. This is called self-sabotage. Do I want to do it today, or shall I say, stop it? And then it's also about the way that we're talking to ourselves. So like being mindful and noticing, like, oh, I'm starting to go down that rabbit hole of where it's going to lead me to self-sabotage, because I'm starting to speak badly to myself. I'm starting to put myself down, telling myself I'm not going to be able to win anyway. I'm not going to be able to succeed, so I might as well fail. And yeah.
So then is it rewarding ourselves, even if it's just a little mental pat on the back for doing the thing instead of the other thing? Like, when I put the cart back, can I just give myself a little mission successful, a little like, yeah, I'm one of the good guys. You know what I mean? Like I think we can positively reinforce the things that work for us that we chose to do.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I was feeling some resistance to doing some stuff. I didn't want to do some stuff. We have this like little tiny shed unit thing that holds outside stuff.
Outside stuff.
And I needed to be dealt with. And I just didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it at all. It's hot. Mosquitoes are going to bite me and then come for me in my dreams. And I just was like having so much resistance to it. But I literally just decided I had to do it. I don't know, like, what is that? What do you call it? Where you're just like, what is it when we overcome resistance? When we're like, oh, not that, but then we do it. Like, what is that?
It's determination.
Determination or motivation. Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I do think that
responsibility, discipline.
Yeah, and I was perseverance. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was because I had written about it in the morning that morning that I was gonna do it, and then this morning when I was writing again, I said I did it. I can finally cross that off, and it's been on my list since before it started getting really hot.
Tenacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true grit.
Yeah,
right?
It's grit. It's strength.
Yeah, it's strength.
Mm-hmm.
And a bit of courage.
It's follow through.
Yeah, follow through. And so, I'm finding for myself that it was helpful that in the morning when I was writing, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do today. I was like, I'm tackling this thing. I'm going to deal with the shed. And then when I'm going, like, literally, I was like, the sun was setting. I was just kind of like thinking, like, if I wait this out for like 2 more minutes, maybe it was that we had a self-sabotage discussion coming up or whatever, but that I then reward myself this morning by writing about, I did it and it's done and I'm glad for it. So I think that maybe something that could help us if there's like a certain kind of thing where we find ourselves self-sabotaging, that if I give myself a Post-it note or I write in my journal or I even just tell my friend, like, you know, my roommate, today's the day I'm doing this and I'm going to do it, that then I need to take a second to celebrate that I did it. Just that I did it. The shed is done. I don't have to do that again.
Do a better one.
Nice. I don't have to do it again for a year or something.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's about like letting the little goals be important enough to like bring our whole selves forward.
Which brings me to the idea of breaking things down into smaller steps, smaller goals.
Right.
Like Nathan Drake getting off trying to get off the side of the train that's fallen over the cliff. We have to do one step at a time. Sometimes, and most of the time, it's not going to be a direct way. It's going to be, we have to go out of our way in order to get towards our destination. And a lot of them are going to start to fall when we go. So we have to learn the patterns. Oh, these are gonna start to wiggle, so we have to move fast over them. Micro goals, yeah, and
or tasks. Really, they're steps along the way. The main thing is the objective, the mission, right? The quest line in the game. But then it's broken down into pieces, right? Where it's like, okay, we're gonna defeat the Empire. Okay, well, step 1 would be find the Empire's base. Right? Step 2 would be get inside the Empire's base. Step 3 would be, right? And so now we have all these action steps that get to that bigger goal. So I think what Amelia is talking about is breaking a big task into smaller tasks means that we get to celebrate each of those little steps successful. Oh, good. Okay, I'm done hopping across the monkey bar thing and I'm there. Oh, good. Now I've done this. And so now I'm starting to build this kind of like a snowball that's getting bigger and bigger, rolling and going to be an avalanche soon. It makes it more manageable for sure. Yeah.
Magnolia
and it gives
says,
us momentum as
like,
we're going.
Making checklists. So if you're someone who gets a lot of satisfaction of checking something off or crossing something off the list when you've done that.
I write things I already just did on the checklist so I can cross it off.
Maybe that could be a tool for you to help you move towards your goal of like breaking them down into smaller little tasks. And then each time you do it, you're like, chapa, chapa. Or you could be like the little Korok seed.
I saw somebody made some, I think it was Instagram or TikTok or something about like, I don't do chores anymore. I just do Korok tasks or whatever. And they were just like.
I said that to Logan.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cute. Like, I swept the floor.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. Achievement unlocked.
I also, not to say like all the good ideas in my brain came from my mom, but a lot of them did. Something my mom taught me, and this really helps me, is, in simple terms, in your to-do lists, she breaks her to-do lists into 2 columns. I have to do it, and I want to do it. And she will take one I have to do it task and then reward herself with the I want to do it task. And in this way, you are able to kind of, you're double timing it. You're getting twice as much done. But because as you're doing the thing like, oh, I really don't want to rake all these leaves or whatever, right? But I do want to finish painting the hallway or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's some things that we're looking forward to.
Eat a nice snack.
Yeah, you can reward yourself with a nice snack. But then I think we get into a tricky situation because every time we do something and then we eat a snack, now we create a different problem for ourselves. As long as it's within moderation. Yeah. Main quest, side quest, main quest, side quest. Yes. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I mean, I think that I have used video games to motivate myself to get shit done. So when Amelia and I were working on Evolutus, we had a ton of audio files to listen to. We listened to every single take of every single line from over 100 different characters in this game. And then we chose the select takes of all of it and sent it over and delivered it. So basically the takes we picked are the takes that are in the game with very few exceptions that we send a second option.
Because we're like, well, both of these are good.
Yeah. So that was a lot of work. It was fun, but it was also like editing is a struggle.
Well, specifically when listening to our performances, like, because I play Chelsea, who's the lead character. So I had to listen.
Oh man, I think I want to find the take we have where Amelia says, "Who's she?" The line is literally, "Who's she?" She's asking, "Who is she?" Team.
I spiraled.
She went on this spiral. This was a self-sabotage for real. Here I am. I'm directing her, right? Listening with the headphones. Okay, ready? Let's get it. Who's she? Who's she? Who's she? Who's she?
Who's she?
Who's she?
Who's she?
Who's she? Who's she?
But also, it sounds really weird.
She?
It's really weird when you hear it.
Who's she? And then we listened back to it, and she wanted to pick. I was like, it doesn't matter. The line is who's she? Like, all she has to do is say who's she. Like, there's hundreds of pages of script. And we literally listened, I'm not kidding you, team, we listened to like 40 who's she's, cut them down to like the top 10 who's she's, listened to those 10 who's she's, and got to the top 3 who's she's. And at the end of the day, we were like, I don't even know. There's just not even a word.
We gave him like 2 who's she's.
We're like, here's the top 2 who's she's out of 40.
But also, like, that's a strange sentence.
It's not. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And so that's where the overthinking stream comes in, right? Where we take something that's a small thing, like who's she?
It's lost all meaning.
It's lost all meaning. It's not important. Yeah, the perfectionism thing gets in there. Toromochi says perfectionism, right? That's we both suffer from it, but it's a thing. It's a thing. Especially when you're listening to your own performance. And by the end of the day, you're running yourself. But who is she? You're gonna have to play the game to find out. Twitchcoff.
Well, we're gonna play. We'll play it on stream when it comes out. And
I think we're gonna get to play.
Moment, I will be like, this is it.
Who is she? Twitchcoff, welcome back for 9 months. Sending you love. I'm glad you can be here.
Yeah.
And Chris Castilreggi, thank you for being here for 4 years. That's 48 months, team.
I see Varden Villager is here.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the gifted sub to Omelette Soup.
Thank you, Omelette Soup.
Merci beaucoup.
Who's she?
Who's she?
So, it's like getting not being able to see the forest for the trees is kind of the poetic way.
It, yeah.
Or you get stuck, you're like staring at one thing, and sometimes self-sabotage for me shows up that way, where I get fixated on something, which can be one of my strengths. If I really get on a problem and I'm working on it, I can focus on it. But if it's using itself against me, or if it's working against me, I can get like really hung up on some,
Yeah, self-sabotage can definitely manifest as overthinking, for
I think
sure.
so. I think you're right.
I think there's many ways that it can manifest. It could be overthinking, it could be procrastination, it could be negative self-talk, it could be fear of failure, so you're sabotaging so that you are failing. The
self-fulfilling prophecy thing.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Getting lost in the sauce.
Hey, Local Midas, thank you for the gift sub to Who's She? Who's she?
Who's she?
Y'all deserve a hug for that. Who's she?
Who's she?
Now you know. The forbidden Who's she? We are, Amelia and I are doing, some, okay, so Good Mammal has evolved out of a couple of things. Playing games and then pausing them and talking about stuff together. It's come from the Curiosity Chill streams where we would pick topics together and we were like, let's study monotremes. And then look where that got us. And we would learn a little bit about a certain corner of the world. And with this, Amelia and I have been looking through the week, we look up the stuff that we're going to talk about the next Tuesday. And we have conversations about it between the two of us and with our friends and family and stuff. And then we've been reading articles or finding other experts who can share helpful tips and things. And then the idea is that we discuss our own experience and what has worked, what has helped us.
Yeah.
Again, just a friendly reminder that we are not therapists. We don't have that kind of training. We're just suffering along with you in life. And
we're just human.
And I mean that in a good way. I mean, life is suffering. There's a lot of suffering in life. It doesn't mean life is bad, but it means that there's a lot of suffering in life. And so our goal here is to help alleviate suffering because you are another sentient being. You are another mammal.
Yeah.
And
mammals.
And as I was looking at this one video of a guy who's talking about basically pro tips for dealing with self-sabotage. And he was saying about how a lot of times we expect that it's going to get better all the time, that life should be going on an upward trend, but that it's up and down and up and down. But then when it's in its down, we all know the difference, right? I mean, a day when you're having a great day and you're just killing it. It seems like you're walking on sunshine. And, yeah, and everything's rainbows, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can also feel when yesterday was better and today sucks comparatively and you feel like you're going down. And for me, I know that the self-sabotaging stuff kicks in the most. Hey, what's going on? It really wants a pirate. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Come on in. We're discussing self-sabotage. The down spot where you're starting to feel yourself going down is where you're most vulnerable to the self-sabotage. If I'm having a great day and everything's awesome, it's easy to put the cart back. Who cares? Like, whatever, I'm killing it in the game. I got some great news earlier. I'm going to go have a great meal. Like, I'm in a good mood. This is fine. No problem. So I think the self-sabotage stuff comes up for me when I'm starting to go on a down day or part of the day that feels down. So the first part, I think, to recognizing when we need to employ some of this determination, perseverance, true grit, or whatever, is when we're starting to feel like, I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't even want to get off the couch. I don't even want to go do that shed cleaning thing, right? And we're feeling on the down. So the recommendation that this guy was making in the video was that if we can take a small task that's towards a big thing that really matters to us, that will really motivate us because it's something that's really important to us, but the task itself is like so small that you could do it if you were asleep. Like, if I really want, I'll tell you, here's an example. Something that's really important to me is that we keep the show on the road, that we keep this stream going. This is something that I've really grown to love and enjoy. One of the ways Amelia and I pay for the rent of this space is with the gift prizes, which we have one, and we're gonna give one away. But I want to reach out to all of the top. My idea is to reach out to like the top 100 or the top 28 gift prize givers on the stream to check in with those folks. We have some questions about future prizes and kind of the way we can take the gift prize thing in the future. But to me, that's like a lot of figuring. I mean, that's like, how do you even some people just pop into your head and you're like, oh, I've got to contact that person. And then the rest, it's just like, it's a many stepped problem. But if I can acknowledge the big thing is that I want to keep the Twitch stream up and running, right? This is very important to me. This community we've built is very important to me. This is, honestly, it's my favorite thing that we do is this stream together. I really do. I think it's great. I think also it's really good for Amelia and I that we spend so much time playing and hanging out together. But what I did when I was like, oh, but I just don't know if I have the energy for all of that. I don't know how I'm feeling on the down way. How can I possibly do something right now that's going to help the health of the stream and the community and the whole thing
when I'm
not feeling good? And so literally what I did, like step one was like, export the list of everyone that's ever ordered a gift prize. And it was just one little tiny thing. But then the next time I'm feeling, okay, well, I'm gonna take a little tiny step. I'm just gonna sort it by, and I'm gonna get the email addresses of the people so now I have another document that has the email and the name, right? And the kinds of the stickers that people had ordered, or the prizes that people had gifted. And because what I'm looking for is like, what are the things that people really like? What's really working? So for me, it was about tying the big picture goal of like, maintain the health of the stream and the community. But the task was something that I could have done like in 10 minutes, and it's just a little tiny task.
Breaking it down to small.
The little tiny steps, like Amelia is saying with Uncharted. And so for me, that is how I can stop the self-sabotage. It's like just doing the little thing and then patting myself on the back and saying, you did step one. Yeah. You did it. You did step one. Tomorrow you can do step two, but because you did little step one, you're working towards the big goal. And then instead of avoiding it or procrastinating it or overthinking it or doing it tomorrow or whatever, then my mojo is going down and down more. But the little tiny
win.
Go for like the little tiny mission
the
successful.
Win.
The smallest. Yeah, if you're feeling down, think about what you can do with the smallest win. That's been helpful to me to think about. It's like, okay, what's like a one step in front of the other thing I can do? Mm-hmm. On that note, we have a mission successful sticker prize that I would like to gift, and this one comes from Disco Dreamy.
Ooh, Disco Dreamy.
And Disco Dreamy, thank you for your patience. I know you gifted this prize like 20 minutes ago, but Disco Dreamy says, I had a really productive therapy session today, so I wanted to pass along the good vibes. Love to everyone.
Ah, that makes me happy.
I'm glad to hear that, and I hope that maybe if some of you are thinking about therapy being something that you might want to explore, I really do recommend looking into it, or even just a good self-help book will start you on your path. Disco Dreamy, thank you so much. And if you'd like to win, how do they do that, Amelia?
Just type into the chat and let us know that you would like to enter yourself to win our Mission Successful sticker. And our subscribers are entered in 5 times. And if you gave a gifted sub on today's stream, like Local Midas, then you are entered in 10 times. And yeah, just type, let us know. And our winner's going to get a whisper from us. I'm going to shake the hedgehog of happiness. And then...
So you know it's good?
Our winner will be called.
Thank you again for the awesome gifted prize, and let's get a winner. Here we go. The winner is Magalicini. Magalicini, congratulations, you are the winner.
Congrats. Magalicini, you just got a whisper from us with instructions on how to claim your prize. It's in there. You have a little bah moment now.
A little bah moment.
So double check your address before you hit send and make sure that it's correct so that your sticker can successfully make it to you.
Yes, and we hope it will remind you to celebrate your wins.
Yeah.
There can be like a sense of loss when we complete a task, you know? It's like, oh, I was worried about cleaning the shed for so long.
Now
what will happen to me? Yeah. Yeah. That's
Well, what are some of the things that you have taken away from today's discussion about self-sabotage? Did you have any aha moments? Did you have any realizations or things that you might want to take as a tool next time you start running into these hindrances?
There you go. You want to get some work done so you'll feel better? Yeah.
It's more common than you thought? Yes.
It seems like just about everybody here. I mean, I feel like y'all wouldn't have shown up if you were like, oh, self-sabotage, never do that. Right? Like, for sure. Embrace the scars of emotional wounds instead of not letting them heal or overcompensating to protect them. Yeah.
Yeah, the open wound analogy stuck out with you. Yeah, me too.
Realizing I'm not alone in my experiences helped motivate me. There you go. You're not alone, of course.
Structure is rewarding.
Yes. Especially if I found when I was in school and I had a lot of routine and structure, it was taken care of for me. If you have a job and your boss says, come to work at this time and leave at that time, and these are your days off, it's taken care of for you. The less of that structure you have, like after you graduate, or if you're a freelance person, I know we have a lot of artists in the community, it can be really helpful to give yourself some routine or some structure. And it has been helping me a lot to do that kind of stuff where I have, at least now I have a morning routine, and it's really helping me.
Yeah.
Celebrating small wins.
Mini steps. Yeah. We did a stream about overthinking. I think, was it like two streams ago?
Yeah. It may even be up on YouTube at this point. Let me see. YouTube.com. Let's see.
We got tubes of you.
We got a bunch of good mammals on there. Beautiful.
But
I'll share the link in the chat. If you want, we have, I think, actually a whole playlist.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just do that. I can make a command. So there's 6 of them up there. I
don't think we have it up yet.
It's coming up next, I think.
Overthinking. It might still be a VOD on our Twitch. Otherwise, it will be up very soon. Yeah. Reflection, self-reflection. Yeah. Trying to understand where the root of our behavior, like why are we behaving in this certain way?
Right.
Yeah, being mindful of negative self-talk. Yes. I think that honestly, that like how we talk to ourselves is the foundation of having good mental health, because almost like literally every topic that we've discussed or focused on with Good Mammal talks about that, how important it is to speak to yourself in a kind, caring, loving way, because we're with ourselves all the time. You can't escape, you know? So
that person that's in there, they've been there the whole time, and they're gonna be there the whole time. They're not going anywhere. So we gotta learn how to deal with them.
We have to make friends. We have to be on our own side, because, you know, Yeah.
Would someone try !good mammal in the chat? I have just made a command that will take you to the full playlist of all of our past good mammals. There it is.
There we go.
It works.
Yay!
Cool. So if you want to watch any of the past ones, all of our other streams will end up there eventually.
So next Tuesday, we are not going to be doing a good mammal stream. We're going to be taking Tuesday. We're not going to be streaming next Tuesday or Friday. We have family coming to town.
We'll still be streaming over the weekend, but I'm going to be an unk. Well, I'm already an unk, but I got uncle responsibilities next Tuesday. That being said, we need to discuss what we will discuss in 2 weeks henceforth.
Yeah. Do we want to?
Which will be for the 26th, for September 26th.
Wow, time flies.
Time flies.
An idea that I had, we also could go back and revisit all of the topics that we've talked about on Good Mammal. So kind of like, looking back at all the things that so revisiting past Good Mammals. Or we can focus on a new topic if you prefer that. That's an interesting idea to do kind of like a recap to kind of like like a next chapter. Building a routine. I like that. What are some other ideas of some good mammal things you'd like to talk about? Seeing body positivity, body image. We did talk about procrastination and how it pertains to the creative process last week.
Yeah. And we'll do it again later. Such a stupid joke. Meditation. Ooh, interesting.
Anger.
Meditation. That's something I definitely want to learn more about. I'm very much baby in that world.
Yeah, same. Baby,
anger.
So small.
We did a stream on overcoming loneliness, which I think was very, very helpful. That one is up on the playlist already if you'd like to watch it.
We did one about
why tomatoes are nice for you. Why are tomatoes?
Nutrition. We could do one about nutrition.
Nutrition.
How many topics is that? We don't want to have
That's
too many.
6.
Let's do that.
Let's do these 6
to start,
and let's see what happens.
And then we could do a runoff poll.
Whoa, that's a big poll.
So big.
All right, what is your flavor, friends?
What should we talk about 2 weeks from today when we come back for Good Mammal? Type of 1 if you would like to do a review of all the past Good Mammals of essentially it's kind of like not a test, but
recap.
Yeah, recap. 2 if you want to talk about building routine. 3 if you want to talk about body image and body positivity. 4 for meditation. 5 for anger. And 6 for nutrition, how to take care of your body by what you eat.
Right on. Thank you, everybody, for the input. I really appreciate it. And let me also say thank you to our mod team. What you may not know is that there's a whole group of folks, our mods and our lieutenants, who help us out on Discord and on Twitch and make the experience here so enjoyable for many of you. So thank you for that. Mods and lieutenants, thank you for being with us on Discord and Twitch.
Yeah.
All right.
Where it's at.
Where it's at.
Where you at? Okay, so it looks like it's going to be either a body image, building routine, or an overview. Should we do a runoff?
Y'all want to do a runoff?
I do.
Doesn't matter what y'all want. My wife wants it. My wife gets it.
No signal. No signal.
Here. What is this? Okay, so
overview of past
recap of past 14 streams. Wow, that might be really useful because it could help us kind of like distill it all down.
Yeah, and also to see the patterns and the similarities between all of them.
Right, building a routine.
14. Building a routine
and body image and positivity.
Image. Yeah, I know. It's kind of wild that we've done already 14 of them. All right, so let us know.
14? 14?
So many good mammals.
Hold on, what is even 14 divided by 4 is 3.5 months we've been doing this. Cool. I'm glad you dig it. I mean, honestly, we play a lot of video games. While you all take a moment to type in, I will tell you about our upcoming streams. We play a lot of video games, but I feel like a lot of us, the thing that unites us even more than video games is this like human condition, you know, the story of being alive. 1 in the chat for overview / recap of the past 14 streams. Number 2 in the chat for building a routine, and number 3 in the chat for body image, positivity, or even body neutrality.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept. And speaking of what's coming up next, our next stream, unless it's a bonus stream, which we're likely to do.
Yeah, so make sure you have your notifications turned on if you don't already. There's a bell somewhere. Make sure the bell is purple. Can bells be purple? I don't
Click
know.
it.
Click the bell.
Click it.
It'll let you know when we go live. Our next stream will be on Friday. We are going into the stars of Starfield. Then on Saturday, we continue Control. And Sunday, we continue Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. So much fun. Such good times.
Oodalolly, oodalolly. Hey, Debuck Games, thank you for using your Prime here. And Tendies, yes, welcome back for 10 months. Also using your Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to Twitch for a free subscription on any channel on Twitch every single month. It's included in your Prime, and you can toggle it on with the little button down below the video, or check out !free in the chat to give you more info on that. All right, what's our pretty split, but we're going to go for building a routine.
All right.
Building a routine. Just barely knocks out body image and positivity, which has also been on the poll a few times. So this is likely to be the one that follows. So I'm guessing we'll probably do building a routine and then getting into being happy with our body.
Yeah.
Or at least okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay, building a routine. Interesting thoughts in the meantime. So we're going to break the routine. We won't be around next Tuesday, but we will be back on the 26th, which is 1 week henceforth.
Yeah.
And we'll remind everybody of this on the next streams. We are going to be streaming Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week.
Yes, and then the following week we'll do Saturday, Sunday. And Eliza, thank you so much for
Eliza.
the group hug. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the support, Eliza. Thank you for the good vibes, everybody. And we do have one more little poll, which is where shall we raid?
Okay.
Where shall we raid? What's a raid, Amelia?
A raid is where we're going to teleport to another streamer's channel together, and we're going to give you options.
Options? Actually, no, we just got a good one here. They're playing Stardew Valley. That's perfect.
Perfect. So we're going to all teleport over to Britva Games and chill with them in their Stardew Valley.
Nice.
So if you like what they're doing, hit the follow button and let's shower their chat with a bunch of good vibrations.
Yeah, prepare your emotes. Get them ready. Feel free to use all your most colorful, wonderful emotes and drop a follow on their channel if you're into what they're up to. Let's go show some love, show some support. Miss Okami.
Miss Okami, thank you so much.
Hey.
Friend.
Oh, wait. I want it to sparkle. I want it to sparkle for Miss Okami.
For Miss Okami. Yes.
Thank you, Miss Okami. Thank you. If you got a gift sub from Miss Okami, please be sure to thank her. And thank you so much for hanging out with us, everybody. This was a lovely time.
Yeah, and a reminder as we go into this week to remember to be gentle with yourself and to be kind to yourself, and remember that you are loved and you are enough, and we are grateful for you.
Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. You did something to take care of yourself and take care of your mental health today, which is more than I can say for myself almost every other day. So thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us, and thank you so much for sharing all of your great input.
Yeah.
A lot of really thoughtful comments and questions. So I'm happy to see that, and really, really grateful that you can be here. So thank you for spending your time with us, and thank you for taking care of yourself. And if taking care of yourself means going to bed or going to make a meal or whatever, feel free. No worries. It's time for the raid, though. My name is Brian.
My name's Amelia.
And we are good mammals.
We are good mammals.
Baby, we could do it like that. Raid!